Hello YouTube, welcome back to another video. Juicy TV, mic check real quick. Back with another one. We're here with a weekly track roundup. This is the last weekly track roundup of quite the eventful month. Obviously you guys know this week the Pink Tape dropped. I'm not going to be talking about that in this video, so if you're only interested in the Pink Tape, you can go ahead and click off this. This is just everything that is dropped in between. There's like an hour 20 of new music I wanted to talk about. But Uzi's reaction and review, those are on my channel. I've seen a couple of you guys watch it. I appreciate all that. But here we go. We have about 20 to 25 songs to talk about for this week. A couple albums. The Weeknd, we'll start off with, dropped his little episode 5 part 1 pack with False Idols and Like a God. That was interesting. Two pretty good songs, actually. These are some of the best songs we've heard out of the Idol soundtrack. Lil Baby had quite the track. I think Susanna Sun is actually one of the actresses that's like one of the talents on the show. So the Weeknd's really doing a good job at integrating the cast. Lily Rose Depp has been making songs as her pop star career. And Like a God's pretty good. Both of these songs were solid. This week's pretty slept on. There's some pretty solid records on here. So, yeah, moving on, The Alchemist dropped a little EP, little album effort. He always drops these short little records. Flying High EP. You get Earl Sweatshirt on this one. What's his name? Something Woods, Billy Woods. You get Boldy James. Mike's on here, but I decided to skip that track. Larry June's on here. All sorts of dope artists that we've seen The Alchemist work with in the past, and it's a solid record. Some of the instrumentals, some of the cadences are a little boring from rappers like Earl Sweatshirt. It's kind of rubbed off on me a little bit. I did used to like his experimental style, but I don't know. It's cool. It's a cool little release. I'm happy for The Alchemist. He's obviously had great collaborations in the past, so always got to tune in to his music. Rilo Rodriguez also dropped an album, Been One. Obviously, I've never really been a big fan of Rilo Rodriguez's cadences or voice or even just music in general. He makes a track really awkward, but what he does here is he employs the help from ESTG, Lil Baby, Friday, Lil Durk, Lil Yachty, No Cap. All sorts of different artists on this album. So I decided to check those tracks out. Taylor Port Junkie was honestly a highlight with Yachty. Yachty's been working with Drake a lot, and they're really good friends. So I think Rilo Rodriguez took a little bit of inspiration from, Jumbotron Shit Poppin'. It's very reminiscent of that track off of Her Loss. So, yeah, most of these tracks are pretty good. I think it's quite refreshing to hear ESTG on a record again. Didn't mind that at all. Lil Baby was cool. Lil Baby making quite a bit of appearances lately. Maybe he returns back to music. It hasn't been that long since he's been gone. He dropped an album during the school year last year, so yeah. Obviously, I'm not a huge Lil Baby fan. I never really have been. I've been more of like a Gunna fan out of that group, out of that duo. But yeah, still a solid record nonetheless from Mr. Rilo, Mr. Rodriguez, Sauce Walka, and Conway the Machine. I've dropped a new track. I've heard a little bit about Sauce Walka, but I'm really here for Conway the Machine. A Griselda member. I've always loved their music. Yeah, shout out to Sauce Walka and Conway the Machine. I don't really have that much to say about this record, I'm sorry to say. Move on to J-Rock and Cal Banks, dropping East Side. This is a really, really highly anticipated release from J-Rock because he hasn't dropped an album in like 3 years. I think Redemption was his last album. He obviously had like Win on there. I think he had his track with Kendrick. J-Rock is still, I wouldn't say he's a sought after artist, but being a part of TDE, he is still definitely a big deal. So him dropping this track went hard too. This was easily one of the best tracks of the week, so shout out to J-Rock on that front. Don't really have much to say. It's catchy, it's hype, all that. 42 Doug comes back with the song One Time. The song impressed me. I've been kind of a 42 Doug fan, honestly. I don't think he's bad. His collaborative tape I've been talking about on this channel for a while with ESTG was quite the banger album. One Time is pretty good. I feel like if I went back and re-listened to some of these, I could still find quite a bit of enjoyment. Obviously, all this music is overshadowing Uzi's Pink Tape, so I doubt any of you guys are really that interested in hearing me talk about it. But yeah, we're going to move on to Currency and Harry Fraud. They kind of work with the underground, that kind of street rap. With Vices here, you get Benny the Butcher, you get Larry June, Rome Streets, Jim Jones, Yeah, I mean, 86 Testarossa with Rome Streets was definitely a highlight on this record. That track was awesome. I mean, the production, some of the bass on the fucking thing was great. Good production. I think Harry Fraud is a producer, so Currency's the rapper, obviously. I don't really know much about them, but anytime I see them drop music, they always have some pretty dope people on it. I know I'm not really supposed to listen to albums just for features or anything, but that's how it goes sometimes. But Jay Critch and Maya the Don drop a new track, Google Maps. Jay Critch, I've messed with him in the past, so I wanted to see what he got here, and nothing too memorable. I mean, at this point in our list here, again, it's what I call the undercard. So yeah, HVN dropped a song with Fushi, which interestingly enough, Fushi actually had backing vocals on Fire Alarm from Uzi's album, so that's really dope to see her appear there as well. But yeah, shout out to Fushi. She has a great voice. She's made contributions to some big albums this year. She was on Lil Yachty's album. I mean, a year ago or two, she was on Vince Staples' self-titled. She's been involved with a lot of shit. So shout out to Fushi. I mean, this song wasn't anything memorable, but yeah. GT, Babytron, and Certified Trapper dropped back on tour again. Not really too memorable. Babytron's verse was quite the highlight. Of course it is. It's fucking Babytron. Why are we surprised? But other than that, nothing to really talk about here. Certified Trapper kind of making waves, but I'm not really on that wave yet. Let's move on to Albie Owl. He dropped a track, I'm From Marion, or he dropped an album, I'm From Marion, which included Ron Suno, Raw Swish, Millie's, you get a little TJ on a track, so some features here and there, nothing really much. I mean, I'm kind of tired of this whole Ron Suno, Raw Swish, Dusty Locane wave. I've kind of discussed that on my channel. So, yeah. Brian Chase made an album. And on that album, he has a song with A Boogie with the Hoodie. And I'm not really sure if I covered it on the channel, but I might as well just go over it again. I was like thinking about putting it on my playlist, and I did. But I'm not going to lie. I mean, Brian Chase, this was obviously a money grab for him. He signed to Interscope. That's a pretty big deal, but this is a money grab because his part is garbage, and I guarantee the rest of this album is not that good either. So, I mean, I don't really have much to say. Shout out to A Boogie with the Hoodie for featuring on that, but leave a like, comment, subscribe. That's all I have. Pretty short week for music, of course. Uzi, though, in July is supposed to be possibly an even bigger month with, Yeet possibly dropping, Ken Carson dropping. I think Travis Scott will be dropping. I don't know who else is supposed to drop. Maybe Post Malone? I don't know. I'm not really excited for Post Malone or anything. Don't get that twisted. But yeah, I mean, have a good rest of your day, guys. I'm done with YouTube. So catch me on Twitch maybe at